Hello everyone, great to see you again. So last time we talked about this bill completion. I think we finished on that topic, and we will discover a bit more on the bill, and so we try to illustrate a bit more on the bill completion because it's a quite complicated process. Okay, so we mainly just talk about three things. One is the life cycle, and we will focus on the build completion. What are the various options? How we can specify them based on your project requirements. The second bit we will look at how the build print would work in terms of the process, in terms of the batch, etc. Um, and last, as always, we do have a look at the data model, how the data model supports these functionalities. Okay, so let's look at the first one, review lifecycle. Okay, so last time we talked about both build cycle and build segment lifecycle. Um, so first of all, in terms of bill, you can see it's quite straightforward. It's just pending complete or move to garbage. Um, and but let's think in this way. Bill is not just a, a new bill. So in the system, if you talk about a new bill is a bill. A credit note is also a bill, which reverse the ordinary bill. So we need to look at in terms of the context what is happening at the point of build cycle, and if you let's say you create a credit note, you might want to it still triggers all the pre build completion and post build completion algorithms, but you need to specify, what should be happening in terms of the credit notes, for example. On the right hand side, we have this build segment. It is a bit more complex because in general, build doesn't require user intervention, but build segment does in some cases because if there is a error or if there is something to review, we will normally say um, go to a build segment and look at the details because so all the calculations are actually happening on build segments. On the build, although you have build message in addition, but normally what we have very um, small scope of changes in terms of build, but majority of the menu options are based on the build segments. We look at this one last time. I'm not gonna go through all of these, but what I would like to emphasize is these events are written in a way of they are written in the sequence, so you need to understand how the sequence actually works. Uh, this is probably not every event. I mean, there are more events happening in different scenarios. I haven't put down events for say credit note, uh, but this is just say a general bill when it's created, when it's completed, what would happen. And I think it's important to remember the events because they could be the point of configuration for your customer requirements, um, and also the sequence of these events is also important. Okay, so let's expand a little bit based on those events. Okay, so First of all, the pre-completion algorithm on the SA type. Uh, well, I mean, it can be on the SA type or it can be on the customer class, which is referenced by the account of the bill. So they can normally be used for validation purpose, as I said, or they can be used to modify or delete build segments, or for the ones on customer class could be modified to delete the build or build segment before the completion starts. So in some cases, for example, if you see for example, the build segment is the um, is under a certain threshold, you might want to delete it, or it might be too short for this build, for maybe some build segment just 1 day. Um, you might want to delete it. So it's based on what your project is looking at, but these are the options can be used. Second one is each customer class CIS division combination defines number of days after bill that bill is due. Okay, so this is about the bill due date. So you can specify a number for that, but also you can specify a algorithm which you can use the base one, or you can customize it. Now the base one provided by the product allows account to override the normal due date by either the account specific due days or a specific day of the month. Okay, so these are the parameters for that algorithm which you can specify. Next is about late payment charge. So if the customer, let's say the due date is reached and customer has not paid, or they paid in late, there is a penalty to the customer. It is controlled by a batch job called LATEPYMT, and basically it is based on the late payment day plus the due date. Sorry, the grace days plus the due date to determine the late payment charge. Okay, and next, eligibility of the late payment charge is based on the account customer division plugin. If the account is eligible, it checks each SA to determine if SA is eligible. System will call SA late payments calculation algorithm to calculate the charge. So there is a plugin support on the SA type for this. Any person linked to account may receive a copy of bill. Every person who gets a copy must reference the route type. Bill routing is created for each person who receives a copy of bill during bill completion. Okay, so when we say a bill is created against the account. Each account has a reference table to person. Okay, so when you look at the system, you have a bill routing table under the account, and in that one you can specify who are the people meant to receive a copy of bill. It doesn't have to be just one person, it could be multiple, because in reality, when we are looking at the bill, maybe one person is financially responsible, but there are other people who should be receiving a copy For example, maybe the broker should be receiving a copy as well. So these are the so through that relationship, you can specify who should be able to get a bill, and then when the bill is created, system is understanding where the bill should be sent to. Address on the bill routing is populated using routing method on the bill route type specified on the account person record. There are four potential mailing address to specify for a customer. Okay, so first of all, I think in the last video we already talked about the bill routing type. So this is a very important configuration object. So when you look at the bill routing type, you will be able to see so you will be able to see the route method. You'll also be able to see the I think is the extract algorithm, the what information to be extracted, and also um, the algorithm to send the I mean to download this bill information to the printing system. Um, so this will be a very important object. We will look at this in the relationship diagram a bit later. However, here what I'm trying to say is there are four potential. Let's say if this bill need to be sent by mail, there are four potential places where a mail address, the mailing address can be specified. So the first one is the default one. So on the account, you have a mailing premise, and on the premise address is the one to send to. The second one is uh, the specific address of the person on the account. And then next one is the on the person you can also override the mailing address for the person rather than the default address for the person. You can have a override address. And the last one on the person, you could have a seasonal address, which is a subtable actually under person, which where you can specify for different periods of the year, for example, which address to send to. Okay, so there are four different sources can be specified. Again, based on the requirements, you might want to utilize one of them or many of them. Lastly, the bill routing can be manually added and changed to reprint the bill or send it to someone else. So let's say a bill has already been sent, and we want to add a person to send this bill routing, which that can be changed, and we will talk about how the bill routing work in more details. Uh, but this is one option can be done by the operational team. Okay, so moving on, the bill completion algorithm on customer class can modify a bill or perform ancillary events during completion. For example, suppressing the printing of bill after the final bill or the or interface frequent like award system to yeah, so interface the award points to the customer mileage program, for example. Similarly, can be done on the completion, can be done on the SA type. Um, I want to also talk about bill post completion algorithm. They are kind of similar to bill completion. I've seen in some projects they just use bill post completion algorithm. Um, I don't actually think there is any there's much difference because by the time of bill completion, uh, well, but the difference between the bill completion algorithm and the post algorithm is actually these two on this page about the bill message and financial transactions. So if you want to be sure, for example, if you want to check up on the total cost, total value of the bill, um, you might want to specify on the bill post algorithm rather than bill completion algorithm. But I would say normally pick one of these two. Um, I would say probably bill post algorithm is better in terms of bill completion algorithm um, because because of the reason I just specified. So in between, we will have two events. One is about the bill message. So bill message can be also specified on the account or the account on the customer class on the account, and that can be swept to the bill. Um, Similarly, if there is bill message on the SA rate or service provider on the rate or the meter reads remark, for example, they can be swept onto the bill segment. Okay. Financial transaction, once the message is added onto the bill, financial transaction is swept onto the bill as well. So what that actually means, by this time all the bill segments are calculated, financial transactions are created, and also there might be adjustment on the system on the account, which is there since last bill completion. So all these financial transactions will be linked onto the bill, and you will be able to see a summary of what is there, and from there we will be able to complete the bill and make sure all the pending financial transactions are are frozen from here. Sorry, actually taken on, linked to this bill segment. Sorry, to this bill at this stage, which includes bill segments, adjustment, and payment, for example. Okay, so we have gone through this bill completion process again, and at the last part of the bill, well, maybe you can treat it as a separate process. After the bill is completed, bill print starts, and this is where the bill is actually sent to the customer. As we mentioned, bill routing and controls how the bill is printed. We're going to talk about a few key points, okay, on this page. So first of all, the bill routing type, as I was talking about, this is a very important object to look at. Each bill routing type indicate the batch process used to route and format the bill. So you can specify different bill routing um, batch if let's say uh, they they could be different. Maybe you want to differentiate between postal bills and online bills in another format. Similarly, and we have well, for all the bills, we have a bill routing number. Okay, so when a bill routing is created, it is marked with the latest run number for the batch to pick up. Now, that is normally the next number, which is um, the batch run number plus one from the post route, or it could be another batch as we mentioned. And post route is the one creates the download file. Okay, so when this batch is running, the build routing is created and build route is rerunnable with specific run number. So if we want to change the if we want to reprint an existing bill, you need to change the run number to the next post route number. Otherwise, it won't be able to pick up. Or you can rerun the post route number with specific run number. So in that way, you can um, reprint all the bills with the routing number. Next is extract methods. Yeah, so on the build route type, there is algorithm to control what to print and what is the format to output to the downstream to generate the PDF or rendering the content. Next, the intercept. Build prints can be intercepted by specifying intercept user on the account. And also, I mean, there are two options. Either you specify a user, or you can add a bill after date. Okay, so if you add a bill after date in the future, that means the bill won't be generated uh, in the until that date. So quite often what we use is bill after date because then you don't have to hand the bill particular on a particular user, since the support team normally, well, it depends on the project, but normally the bill are not hand to a particular user. But if there's any reason for bill to be looked after per user, then you can use this intercept user, which is more suitable solution. Next one is online display. So there is a button on the bill page. So if you want to retrieve the bill and to look at for example, the PDF, you can specify where the system should be looked for. Normally, this is based on the sequence number of the bill, and if you pass on the sequence number with the URL, then you should be able to retrieve this particular PDF. Okay. Right. You can also specify the bill print group. So some projects they will need to group the bills based on the department. Like what we're talking about, an example here, city governments want to group the service agreements on the bill, and have different priorities. And so in this case, we can specify a bill print group, and we can specify the subgroups for each priority, and yeah, and so we can use in that way. But build print group is an optional configuration in the system. I don't see uh, many projects use it, but it's one of the way we can group it if there is a requirement. Okay, so let's move on to the entity relationship. Um, so we start to dig a bit deeper into bill. For for this diagram, what you have seen is we adding a few more entity, customer class, bill print group, bill route type, and we can see from here um, the bill linked to the account. Not only just the bill is on the account, but also the bill route type is linked to the account person relationship. And this particular object is also the link object between person and account. Okay, so this is a quite important object to look at because this actually specify who should receive a bill and how they should be receiving the bill. And based on that, well, the same object links to bill route type, which defines the route method, extract algorithm, etc. So this is a very key table in the middle. In terms of the accounts, it's each of the accounts reference to a customer class, and we can see customer class have algorithms similar to the SA. I haven't put SA on this, but customer class have algorithm where it can be configured for different plugin sports, like we just mentioned earlier, like pre-completion algorithm, completion algorithm, post-completion algorithm, etc. And it also has other configuration like due dates, etc., um, which is quite important because it is like a type object of account, although it's not exactly a type, but it actually control a lot of behavior of account. On the right hand side, we have build route type, build print group, which is optional, and then we have build linked to the account. Okay, so this is a bigger picture, a more detailed picture in terms of how the bill is generated, completed, and printed. Um, I think this is quite comprehensive one, and obviously there are more details to be found. Um, right, so that's everything for today. Thank you very much for joining, and hopefully next one we will discuss more varieties of the bills, like the when a bill is generated, completed, what are the other things could be happening? So what I can think about at the moment is cancel rebill or things like um, billable charge. So there are different type or different ways of billing, um, but we will discuss about that in the future videos. Thank you very much and have a good weekend.